So the first thing that we're going to talk about are adjetivos, adjectives. And so this was already part of your vocab that you learned last week. But just to point out that you see hombre y mujer, man and woman, and then you see these adjectives that have, like they can be in the form calvo or calva, alto, alta, oops, and then rubio, rubia, bajo, baja. So you notice it gives alternate formats. So what that is that in Espanol, adjectives have to agree in gender and number with the noun that they modify. So if you remember back to the beginning of chapter 1, when we talked about nouns having a gender and a number, so nouns are either feminine or masculine and singular or plural. So adjectives are going to have the same gender and number as the noun. So they have to match. Okay. So remember that the gender of the noun, if it's a thing, has nothing to do with gender like we think of male or female, right? So the gender of a noun, if it is a thing, is determined only by the spelling of the word, specifically the last letters of the word. So these adjectives that we're dealing with here generally are adjectives that describe people. So if they are describing a male, then they're going to have to match in gender with the male. If they're describing a female, it will match in gender with the female. So here are the rules and some things to keep in mind. So in Spanish, adjectives must agree in gender and number with the noun they modify. Adjectives that end in o change to a when they modify a feminine noun, like we saw before here with, for example, rubio or alto. They're going to change to the a if they're describing a female. Adjectives that end in a, specifically ista, okay? A or a consonant do not change when modifying a feminine noun. Exception: trabajador becomes trabajadora. Okay, so you're going to follow the rules that you learned for pluralizing words in order to pluralize the adjectives. So let's look at the different endings we have. So, for instance, the singular masculine adjectives that we have here, if it ends in o, okay, for example, simpático, then you will have four forms: simpático, simpáticos, simpática, simpáticas. If it ends in a, or like I said on the previous slide, ista, okay, then it's going to be the same for masculine and feminine. Idealista, idealista, masculine, feminine, and then you just make it plural by adding the s. If it ends in a, like inteligente, sociable, then those are going to be the same for masculine or feminine. And then you will just add the S to make it plural. Then if it ends in a consonant like ideal, liberal, it's going to be the same, masculine and feminine, and then you just add the ES to make it plural. The exception is if the adjective ends in or, like trabajador, the feminine would be trabajadora, or trabajadores, trabajadoras. Okay, so the next thing, we're going to look at some ejemplos. For example, el profesor es bajo y la profesora es alta. I need to plug in my computer. So notice that it is a masculine profesor, so the adjective is also masculine, bajo. Then when it is a female, profesora, the adjective is feminine. Los niños son inteligentes y simpáticos. So niños, masculine plural or a mixed group. And so your adjectives are going to follow. And then mis amigas, feminine plural. And so your adjectives are also going to be feminine and plural. Mis amigas son trabajadoras y honestas. Okay. All right. So that is all of the grammar from Capítulo Uno. So halfway through this week, you're going to be starting your mind tap for chapter 2. So you'll start your mind tap work that's due for chapter 2 will be due on Wednesday. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first grammar point for chapter 2. So the first section of vocab for capítulo dos is the family vocab. So talking about family members. So I'm gonna do a little listening exercise here in just a second. But the first grammar point is possessive adjectives. So, possessive adjectives, again, they're adjectives, so they describe nouns. And these are adjectives that show possession, like my, your, his, her, its, our, their, your, all, etc. Okay? So, the possessive adjectives are mi or mis, tú, tus, su, sus, nuestro, nuestros, nuestra, I got a little typo there, nuestras. Um, and then su and sus, okay? So the thing to keep in mind with possessive adjectives is that the possessive adjective agrees in gender and number with the thing that is possessed or owned. Okay, so if you think in the sentence, you'll have the possessive adjective and then the word after it. And so the adjective has to agree with what comes after, okay? Not the person who owns the thing, okay? So for example, mis hermanos son altos. So it's mis because hermanos is plural, okay? So even though I'm saying it's my brothers and I'm only one person, it has to be plural, mis, because it's modifying or describing hermanos. Okay? Now, down here, nuestro libro es interesante. So, again, libro, singular. It's also masculine, libro. So then nuestro is singular and masculine. Now keep in mind that nuestro is the only possessive adjective that's going to change for gender. Nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. All the other ones only change for singular or plural. Okay, so pretty simple. All right, so let's get into a little bit of practice here. We're going to talk about mi familia. Okay, so esta es, whoopsies, mi familia. Scott es mi esposo. Estas son mis hijas. Son mis hijas. Tenemos 4 hijas. Alex, Claire, Sydney y Blake. Alex es atlética y muy inteligente. A ella le gusta andar en bicicleta. Okay. So Alex es atlética y trabajadora. Ella estudia medicina. Mi hija Claire es atlética y fuerte. Fuerte, muy fuerte. Ella estudia mucho y tiene un perro. Sydney es muy simpática y ella baila mucho. Ella también estudia mucho. Blake es cómica, pequeña y trabajadora. Ella mira TikTok mucho. Esta es mi hermana Tori. Mi hermana Tori y hijo, su hijo, mi sobrino. Mi hermana Tori es muy especial para mí. Ella es muy inteligente, delgada y morena. También es muy trabajadora. Ella es doctora y trabaja mucho. Su hijo, mi sobrino, se llama Charlie. Charlie es muy grande y guapo. Esta es la familia de Tori. La familia de Tori. So, amigos, in Spanish, we don't use apostrophe S. Okay, so we would not say Tori's familia. Instead, we use de, the family of Tori. La familia de Tori. So, esta es la familia de Tori. Su esposo se llama Miles. Miles es alto, rubio, inteligente y trabajador. Su hijo, mi sobrino, se llama Charlie. Charlie es guapo y grande. Su perro se llama Lloyd. Lloyd es grande y simpático. Estos son mis cuñados, Matt y Ashley. Matt es el hermano de mi esposo. El hermano de mi esposo. Matt es mi cuñado. Y Ashley es su esposa. Ashley es su esposa. Entonces, Matt y Ashley son mis cuñados. Mis cuñados. Matt y Ashley viven en Illinois. Matt es moreno, cómico y creativo. Y Ashley es delgada, rubia y trabajadora. Estas personas son mi familia. Mi familia, mi hermana y su familia, mi cuñado y su esposa. See? So hopefully you caught in there how I was using the possessive adjectives and notice that they agree in gender and number with the thing that is being described. So, one more reminder for this week, guys, is that on Wednesday of this coming week, you will have your cultural connections assignment due. So make sure that you complete that. That's found in the chapter 1 module in Canvas. So, one more reminder, amigos, if you haven't already, I strongly suggest that in your module under documents to print, right here, that you go in and print off these documents. Most importantly, I would say, are the vocab packet and then the grammar notes. These are really going to help you in your day to day studies as you're going through the work. And then before you have your first Lingua meeting session next week, you want to make sure that you print off the Lingua meeting topics and vocab. So you want to have that paper handy when you are getting ready to do your Lingua meeting. So I hope you all have a great week and reach out if you have any questions. Adios.